Good morning and welcome to Family Sing and Praise. Today is Wednesday, in case you're losing track. Hopefully this can be a time that your family can worship together in any way that they feel comfortable, whether it be dancing, whether it be singing, whether it be instruments, or whether it simply be colouring and listening. It is all fine, it is all great. We're just glad that you are here and that you are able to join us this morning. We're going to sing a couple of songs, we're going to read a story, and then we'll close with a children's song. I'm going to open now in prayer. Dear Lord, thank you so much that we can have this time together. I just pray that whatever is going on around us, that we would just feel your spirit of hope and joy as we sing these songs, as we listen to this story. I pray that whatever's going on around us is okay, and that we can just trust you, and that we can just feel your presence in this time. Amen. Okay, we're going to begin by singing a song called Great Are You, Lord. You give life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise, we pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. You give life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise, we pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. And all the earth will shout your praise, our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. And all the earth will shout your praise, our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise, we pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. And the other song that we're going to be doing now is one we did I think last week, called The Lion and the Lamb. He's coming on the clouds, kings and kingdoms will bow down, and every chain will break, his broken hearts declare his praise. Who can stop the Lord Almighty? I Our God is the Lion of Judah. He's roaring with power, fighting our battles, and every knee will bow before him. Our God is the Lamb that was slain for the sins of the world. His blood breaks the chain, and every knee will bow before the Lion and the Lamb. Oh, every knee will bow before him. So open up the gates, make way before the King of Kings. The God who comes to save is here to set the captives free. Who can stop the Lord Almighty? Our God is the Lion of Judah. He's roaring with power, fighting our battle, and every knee will bow before him. Our God is the Lamb that was slain for the sins of the world. His blood breaks the chains, and every knee will bow before the Lion and the Lamb. Oh, every knee will bow before him. Who can stop the Lord Almighty? Who can stop the Lord Almighty? Who can stop the Lord Almighty? Who can stop the Lord? Our God is the Lion of Judah. He's roaring with power, fighting our battles, and every knee will bow before him. Our God is the Lamb that was slain for the sins of the world. His blood breaks the chain, and every knee will bow before the Lion and the Lamb. Oh, every knee will bow before him. Great. Well, we are now going to read a story, as we always do, from the Jesus Storybook Bible. Now, we're kind of in a kind of a funny spot here. Now, on Easter and this last weekend, we talked about Jesus dying on a cross and saving humanity, and then on Easter being resurrected, coming back from the dead, and how he kind of saved humanity from sin and from death and darkness in that. But then yesterday we read a story about creation and how it was so good and everything was looking so great, and so there's kind of a bit of a, well, what did Jesus need to save us from if it was all looking so good? And so the story today really starts the kind of the bridging narrative, the bridging story, the story that kind of takes us from, oh man, this is all so great, to, oh no, this is all so bad. And the story that we're going to read today is how that happens. Adam and Eve lived happily together in their beautiful new home, and everything was perfect for a while, until the day when everything went wrong. God had a horrible enemy. His name was Satan. Satan had once been the most beautiful angel, but he didn't want to be just an angel. He wanted to be God. He grew proud and evil and full of hate, and God had to send him out of heaven. Satan was seething with anger and looking for a way to hurt God. He wanted to stop God's plan, stop this love story right there. So he disguised himself as a snake and waited in the garden. Now God had given Adam and Eve only one rule. Don't eat the fruit on that tree, God told them. Because if you do, you'll think you know everything. You'll stop trusting me, and then death and sadness and tears will come. You see, God knew if they ate the fruit, they would think they didn't need him, and they would try to make themselves happy without him. But God knew there was no such thing as happiness without him, and life without him wouldn't be life at all. As soon as the snake saw his chance, he slithered silently up to Eve. "Does God really love you?" the serpent whispered. "If he does, why won't he let you eat the nice, juicy, delicious fruit? Poor you, perhaps God doesn't want you to be happy." The snake's words hissed into her ears and sunk down deep into her heart like poison. "Does God love me?" Eve wondered. Suddenly she didn't know anymore. "Just trust me," the serpent whispered. "You don't need God. One small taste, that's all, and you'll be happier than you could ever dream." Eve picked the fruit and ate some, and Adam ate some too, and a terrible lie came into the world, and it could never leave. It would live on in every human heart, whispering to every one of God's children, "God doesn't love me." And it wasn't a dream, it was a nightmare. A dove flew from Adam's hand, a deer darted in the thicket. It was as if they were frightened by something. A chill was in the air, something strange was happening. They had always been naked, but now they felt naked and wrong, and they didn't want anyone to see them, so they hid. Later that evening, as God was taking his walk, he called to them, "Children!" Usually Adam and Eve loved to hear God's voice and would run to him, but this time they ran away from him and hid in the shadows. "Where are you?" God called. "Hiding," Adam said. "We're afraid of you." "Did you eat the fruit I told you not to eat?" God asked them. Adam said, "Eve made me do it." "What have you done?" God asked. Eve said, "The serpent made me do it." And terrible pain came into God's heart. His children hadn't just broken the one rule, they had broken God's heart. They had broken their wonderful relationship with him, and now he knew everything else would break. God's creation would start to unravel and come undone and go wrong. From now on, everything would die, even though it was all supposed to last forever. You see, sin had come into God's perfect world and it would never leave. God's children would always be running away from him and hiding in the dark. Their hearts would break now and never work properly again. God couldn't let his children live forever, not in such pain, not without him. There was only one way to protect them. "You will have to leave the garden now," God told his children, his eyes filling with tears. "This is no longer your true home. It's not the place for you anymore." But before they left the garden, God made clothes for his children to cover them. He gently clothed them and then sent them away on a long, long journey. Out of the garden, out of their home. Well, in another story, it would all be over, and that would have been the end. But not in this story. God loved his children too much to let the story end there. Even though he knew he would suffer, God had a plan, a magnificent dream. One day he would get his children back. One day he would make the world their perfect home again. And one day he would wipe away every tear from their eyes. You see, no matter what, in spite of everything, God would love his children with a never-stopping, never-giving up, unbreakable, always and forever love. And though they would forget him and run from him, deep in their hearts, God's children would miss him always and long for him. Lost children yearning for their home. Before they left the garden, God whispered a promise to Adam and Eve. "It will not always be so. I will come to rescue you. And when I do, I'm going to do battle against the snake. I'll get rid of the sin and the dark and the sadness you let in here. I'm coming back for you." And he would. One day, God himself would come. Well, there we go. And there you can see how humans took what God had given them and ruined it. And then you can also see there in the way they tell the story how God is going to come back and save everything, which we just celebrated this last weekend with Easter, which is great. We're going to sing now, and we're going to sing a song called "Be Bold, Be Strong." There are actions that go with it. I'm not great at remembering actions, but I'm sure you can find them online. And then there's some kind of repeats, which I think you can also find online as well. But if not, just jump around, it'll work just as well. Be bold, be strong, for the Lord your God is with you. Be bold, be strong, for the Lord your God is with you. I am not afraid, I am not dismayed, 'cause I'm walking in faith and victory. Come on, walk in faith and victory. for the Lord your God is with you. Be bold, be strong, for the Lord your God is with you. Be bold, be strong, for the Lord your God is with you. I am not afraid, I am not dismayed, 'cause I'm walking in faith and victory. Come on, walk in faith and victory, for the Lord your God is with you. Let me just pray for you as we go. Lord, I just pray for those watching and singing and clapping and shaking instruments or listening, those who got distracted, those who stayed. I just will pray that they would all know just how much you love them today. I just pray that it would be a love that they would feel through the day that brings joy and peace and hope into a time that feels a little unsettling. Pray for children who are finding it difficult and who are getting frustrated and feeling restrained. I just pray that you would just bring your comfort into those homes. Lord, we pray this in your name. Amen. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.